whatever they think.
Yeah. So, another question you got to ask yourself is, they gave us a Black History Month, right? Think about it this way. Wait, I'll let you talk, right? Is if we only have 1 month, right, to understand about Black history, when Black history is so much, that's not enough time.
So isn't it for yourself to learn about Black history?
Of course.
Are you gonna just keep Black History a month? Because I believe Black history is very.
It should be. Black history should be.
You shouldn't even be watching a month.
Yeah.
I also think we have to be sorry. I have to say this. We have to be careful when we say things like they gave us Black History Month. We have to remember back in the day, there was a lot of well-meaning activists, Black activists, in here in the UK who actually campaigned for a Black History Month. Who said we won't learn enough about Black history within our schools and our contributions, and so we want a time to focus specifically on Black history. And the reason why they chose October was because it was right at the start of the school curriculum or the school year. So that was the reason why. Sorry.
No. Another quick question.
Go on.
Because I like your school idea.
Thank you.
What we're doing here is tweaking your school idea.
Yes.
Now, you have people who, like Brother Ravenir, is vegan or vegetarian? Vegetarian. You're vegetarian. There are other people who are vegan. Now, in your school, will you have a range of options?
Yes.
Because you're going to have people who are like the Dinka of South Sudan, who subsist on meat and milk. The Maasai, they like a lot of milk. The Maasai, I'm going to take it a little deeper in the rabbit hole, they like a little bit of blood. They drink a bit of blood from the neck. Right? I've actually seen this myself.
We're a bit
Now,
different, you know, Africans.
I might have to suspend my personal conniptions about blood as a Muslim to say that is what they do, and that is how they've been living for centuries. Now, I don't like, as I said about discussing black people of Ecuador or Brazil who don't have the woke literature we have, that they're less conscious. I don't even like to think of them as less conscious. We were discussing before how there's less literature about consciousness raising in Spanish language and in Arabic. That's why you find fewer people are using the word woke, the modern young people word woke, in the Latino, the Hispanic part of the world and the Arabic part of the world. And we, in the Anglophone, we've had Sheikh Anta Diop translated into English since the 70s. So we are woke on a number of levels, but in other ways they are also woke. They have an Africanity that's innate. And we have to be able to allow these people, like coming back to your point with the Maasai, because I'm going to bring it back to the discussion we're having about your school, right? So there's the diet plan for the school. We have a diet plan. What about if you have radical vegans who say this idea of taking meat is inherently cruel? It's a form of ecocide. You have all these cattle eating up all the rainforest in the Amazon, etc., etc. How do we do this? I still like your idea. Go ahead.
I would say everyone has different dietary preferences. So it's basically based off what they have at lunch, whatever, innit? Like, my honest opinion, if it was coming to school, it's about tackling the problems that we could actually progress. So if I was to say, right, the main things I would say, as usual, we got maths, things of that nature, we got the generic, let's say, school things. I'll be talking about getting the mind strong, because there clearly is a mental health problem that's happening with blacks. We cannot deny that, right? Building up the family in these schools, right? Other thing as well is finding out basic solutions in terms of how to basically tackle crime. And in my humble opinion, I think that is basically teaching let's say, a non-biased way about manhood and womanhood, so that whatever religion or what culture they can add on. Because let's be real, every black has a different religion. Some will be Christians, some will be Islam. So we gotta have it in a way where it's inclusive. This is what it is. Yeah, inclusive. That's it. Inclusive. This is what it is, but you can basically add on it. You understand? So it basically is customizable to the individual, because we can't have this all fit in one box. There's people out here who just think Africa's a country when it's a country. You understand?
I suppose, yeah. So you're going to have to clear the dividing lines. So I think what Uncle Danjuma was presenting was not necessarily a thing about dietary requirements, but more so about a deep moral objection to one position. So if, just say we're doing, at your Saturday school, they're doing like an event and they got a barbecue outside, they've got jerk chicken going, and they got all this, food from Africa and the Caribbean as meat. If I'm a very strong vegan, I profoundly object to that even happening. So to some extent, I'm actually objecting to African culture, someone could say.
Aspect of.
Or an aspect of African culture. So how would your school mitigate that kind of issue when people have strong, profound issues with aspects of somebody else's.
I'll be an honest man, I don't know.
Brother Leo.
I'll just make a brief contribution just to say that from what I've picked up from what brother is saying and what the brothers have all said thus far, to me it sounds like a very beautiful idea, but I just think maybe it's a bit limited in that surely it can't stop at a school. Surely we have to go the whole way to what we call separation, where as a people we need to have our own land or our own territory or a place where we can once again govern our own reality, including the education of our children, including diet, including all of these elements, marriage and family and whatever. By the way, just a quick correction, it's not polygamy. Polygamy is when both the man and the woman can take multiple partners. It's polygyny. Polygyny is when it's reserved to the man to take multiple partners. But even in that, if we even understand the African traditions where men have multiple wives, and if you read the scriptures, you see the prophets all had multiple wives, there's a context in which that was done. And the context has always been where men have been outnumbered by women, where wars have happened and men have been depleted, and then to stop women from becoming lesbian or to become dependent on scrupulous men or women falling down on one another, it was under those circumstances, in particular in Islam, where the men were permitted to take 4 wives in order to look after the widowed women and the orphans. It wasn't to have a harem of sexual partners, it was to deal with maintaining family and taking care of orphans and widows. And in an African society, even within those societies, the rule was that if you take, and in the Holy Quran, by the way, it says 1 wife is best if you but know. But most of us ignore that part and we run to the multiple. But it says 1 is best. But in Africa, again, how you treat 1 wife, you got to treat the other one the exact same way. The Holy Quran says you can't do it. You can't be just and fair to both. So again, it's really not so much about that. All I would say, the only thing I heard that was kind of missing, because I like the idea and the concept, because we must educate our own children. The only thing I would suggest, brothers, is that we have to go a lot further in that until we separate ourselves. And when I say, because again, people say, well, where are we going to go? It's not about geography. It's a mindset of doing for self. And once we do that en masse, enough of us, then we can then determine our own destiny. That's the only thing I would suggest that really we need to
This
consider.
is the question, earlier I was asking you, how can we do that when we've got certain countries in France that take 5 billion of Sierra Leone on colonium tax, and they're still paying colonial, like you've colonized us,
that's easy.
You civilized us apparently, and now we're still paying for this.
That's easy.
So how can stuff like that happens if they 1,000 of our units is equal to one of their units? That's the things that piss me off.
That's easy.
As a Pan-African, that just pisses me off. If you've got all the raw materials and they're not selling it in our value markets, and so how can we as...
That's easy. I'm not going to try and monopolize the conversation. Brother's the one who's dealing with this. All I would say, just very quickly in answer to that, it goes back to what I just said a minute ago. It's about us separating the African leaders. They're still attached to France. They're still attached to Britain. They're still attached to the former colonial masters. They just need to develop the testicular fortitude to say it's done. And where we said we became independent, I'm from Jamaica. Jamaica is supposed to become independent in 1962. Jamaica is not independent. A black man can still be executed in Jamaica having committed a criminal offence of murder or something like that. And the only way he can be reprieved from that sentence is to appeal to the Privy Council of Great Britain. We're not independent. So that's the problem. We talk independence, but we don't walk independence. Once those African nations determine that actually we are independent and we're going to separate, then the problem is solved, brother. They can't force us to pay them money. They can't force us to do anything. But it's because of bad leadership while this process continues, then the masses of our people who follow the leaders, we remain in the same condition. That's the only thing I would say, brothers. We need to separate ourselves. Starts here. And when we unite together and start working for one another, we've got the resources to be able to build for ourselves and do for ourselves.
Brother Leo, the young brother here was saying before you came, he made a point to the effect that we have a situation where the black man's mind operates along the crab in a barrel. I said to him that as I go through the Western world, black people as individuals excel at the highest levels of industry, technology, science. Wherever you go, medicine, you find them as individuals. Some of them are from the Caribbean, other parts of the diaspora. Some are from the continent of Africa, not long living in America, maybe 20 years, top of their game.
Yes.
Why is it, I said to him, it seems to me, when you ask us to work in concert with each other as black people, it seems to fall apart. As individuals, you find us popping up from, I don't know, Thailand to Canada. At the best doctors, the best engineers, the whole brain drain thing we've been talking about. But when you say, okay, let's pool these resources and exhort our people into working together. They can't seem to make that leap. You want to look at that? Can we look at that?
Again, you know, we have to understand history and what's happened to us as a people. And you know, my brother is absolutely right. The crab in the barrel syndrome is a reality, and the individualism that you're talking about is a reality. It's me, myself, and I. But that's been fostered, and that's been nurtured, and that's been taught. Individually, we are not a threat. So individually, they will pick out individuals of us to go into various arenas. I worked in the BBC for at least 6 years, and behind the scenes, our people, brother, we're the cameramen, we're the sound engineers, we're the lighting technicians. Brother, believe me, we're all up in corporate Britain, running things behind the scenes, but for somebody else. And they encourage that. As soon as we determine to do something for ourselves, we become reverse racist. That's the label. So the Chinese, they can have Chinatown in London, they can have Chinatown in Birmingham, they can have Chinatown everywhere. They're not regarded necessarily as a threat to white supremacy. Asian people can have Southall, they can have Asian communities all over the place. They're not regarded as a threat to white supremacy. The black man, who is the father of everyone, they understand, brother, that individual that you're talking about, when you see that individual, you are looking at the whole of us. But the individual is limited in what he or she can do. But they know that if we were to unite, brother, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said it like this. He said, our unity is more powerful than a nuclear weapon. They know this, and they work tooth and nail, day and night, 24 hours, 7 days a week, to stop any kind of unity from ever breaking out. Hence, J. Edgar Hoover's decree that we must stop the rise of a black messiah who can electrify and unify the masses of black people. Because once we come together, brother, it's over. That's why we were not allowed to play golf. But then one black man goes into golf, Tiger Woods, even though he's conflicted about whether he's even black. But one black man goes into golf. He doesn't potter around with the rest of the crowd. He goes right the way to the Masters. We're not allowed to play tennis. In 1937, a black woman started playing tennis. She went right to Wimbledon. Now you got the Venus and Serena, the sisters, the Williams sisters. They're so good, they run out of people to play. They have to play against each other. Motor racing, we're not allowed to go into those arenas. We get one black man going there. Where is he now? What those individuals demonstrate is that collectively black people are so powerful, the enemy knows this. That's why we excel in any arena we're allowed to go into, but we're only allowed to go in there as individuals. Now, and what we've got to understand is that trick, and we've got to come together.
Now, like the man who was behind you, the guy who was on the bicycle behind us there, so whispering from the wings when he was shouting from the wings. Now, taking a person like that and reforming that person is what this young man is talking about. How can we reverse that process of taking that negative energy that he's brought and saying, no. Here we can work as a collective, we could suppress each of us a little bit of that ego.
Yeah.
We could afford to scale back a little bit, each of us, that ego, and work in concert with each other. But let's talk about that in practical terms, in terms of how do we get to his school, that teaching that. Yeah.
In practical terms, when Brother Malcolm was Malcolm Little, he was so hateful in his behavior towards black people that his nickname was Satan. He probably was worse than him, that was just left on the bicycle. Some of us, brother, Malcolm, don't forget, Malcolm used to sell the black woman to the white man as a prostitute. That's some hateful behavior there. But you see, brother, even within him and our brother Malcolm and your little brother right here, Leo, I was one of them crazy ones running up and down on the streets back in the day. Within the worst of us is pure beauty, love, genius, brother. It's in him. But how we got to bring that out of him is by, first of all, improving ourselves. It's not so much about him, it's about us. It's the example that we set. So when he outbursts like that, we don't give evil for evil. We don't treat him the way he's trying to treat us. We keep showing him love. This love that Martin Luther King talked about, the only mistake Martin Luther King made, he thought that was to give that love to the white man. We got to give that love to one another.
Before
brother.
we get some black-white unity, we need some black unity.
There you go. Yeah, but I really appreciate the discussion, brothers. Very, very beautiful.
Thank you so much.
Soldier.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, my brother. Thank you all for your time.
And don't forget to pick up your Proud to be Black badge.
You need to get some guests.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, I mean,
Yes, sir.
we're
Beautiful.
discussing. Okay, yeah.
Thank you, family.
No,
Thank you,
no,
sir.
no.
We'll see
It's
you
our
around.
pleasure. It's our pleasure. So you see, we're discussing in practical terms, trying to bring this down. And I like what Brother Leo, this last point he landed on, which is that how Raven and I turned around. Right? We could have made that confrontational.
Exactly.
We could have, but we just said, come on in, speak your piece, tell us how we can reverse this situation. Now, I think there are some people who will take longer than others, but if we claim to be the ones who are woke, we have to have more patience. We have to say, listen, this thing is going to take a long time. And as I said, coming back to the point we started with reparations, I can't take away everything from your melody.
Come, man, say it straight. Man, don't listen to BBC. Man, don't listen to ITV.
Because I will leave on that point. I think reparations is a good idea, but you don't give up your day job in pursuit of said reparations, because like the young brother here said, I don't think we're gonna get it. Because first of all, the minute they wouldn't even give you a proper apology.